So we're here in the great city of Espanola today, September 25th, 2025. There is a special meeting going on right now. We're in the great city of Espanola. There's going to be a special meeting today. Um, the mayor of Espanola is going to bring in an interim city manager. Because right now there hasn't been a city manager since March of this year. So, and then also there's gonna be an election to replace the Mayor Pro-Tem because the cousins, Mayor Pro-Tem, Peggy Sue Martinez and John, are cousins. So right now they're at each other's throat. And they're they said doors will open at 5:30. It's already past 5:30. So John wants to replace the Mayor Pro Tem with someone else from the governing body. So let's see what kind of show we have going on. So the interim city manager that John wants to bring, her name is Lauren Renchland, I want to say, something like that. Her last name is spelled Reichelt. She ran for a couple of elected positions here in the city of Espanola for school board and county commissioner and city council, and she lost them all with the help of the community that supports corruption. Got her not elected. So we're here in the great city of Espanola, New Mexico, for a special meeting that they have going on today at 6 p.m. There's a sign that says doors will open at 5:30. It's already past 5:30. So I'm not sure what's going on. How come the doors aren't open? But let's see who's all here. Oh, they're opening them. I just heard the door open. It's who ran in. Somebody ran in.
Test. So me and Diana figured it out.
see if my resolution, I gotta make sure my resolution's done. I gotta see where. Hey, are you gonna be, good for Thursday?
What day? Thursday, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, that's probably the best day I could do, actually. What time? Thursday's a good day. All right. I got this work.
Both sides of the audio is working.
Two copies? It looks like one. I've never seen a resume where someone puts their experience oldest to newest.
I mean, there it's always top of the top.
Hey, how's it going? Did you post the right Zoom link on Facebook?
I sure did. Are they having trouble getting in now?
Someone says they think it's the wrong one.
I posted the right one. Just to make sure.
Well, Zoom is suck.
It's always hit or miss with them for sure. almost half full.
Turn off my phone.
So,
Always
here, bro.
appreciate you. More than you know.
Ah.
You can sign in for public comment.
They just open at 8 o'clock and then they close at 4:30. Yeah, so you can come in. That's not gonna work for me. Yeah, you can definitely address this. Take public comment, no problem.
take responsibility. I apologize. So that's Lauren. That's the intern that John wants. She's talking to Tinny Bustos right now.
Recording in progress.
Justin, can you unmute now?
That's Lori. That's a new intern city manager that John wants.
Can you let me know? Tested. Can you hear?
Teeny is showing Lauren our Facebook page. She's showing her the post.
Call Felicia. Whose unit is this one? No, if our truck comes, it's going to be able to get that there. No, yeah. I think they're gonna come. Appreciate it. Not, don't worry about it.
Well, let me put this one down. Can you still hear me?
We got Espanol's finest in the building. We got buddies. We got buddies.
Alrighty, we're gonna call it. So we have Felicia adjusted testing. Can you read back to us?
Hi guys, I'm here. Sorry I'm not in chambers. I don't want to get anybody else sick.
Felicia?
I'm here. Apologies for just flying. My flight just landed in Albuquerque, so.
Okay, alright, we can hear both of them. The time is 6:05. Call this meeting to order. Would you please join me in the pledge of allegiance? Designate us an invocation this evening. Thank you, Father, for another opportunity to serve the Espanola area. Lord, we thank you for this meeting and that we make decisions that help our city. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. For the clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro-Tem Peggy Sue Martinez. Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
Present.
Councilor Denise Benavides. Councilor Aaron Salazar. Councilor Felicia Chuleta Toya.
Present.
Councilor Pedro Valdez. Councilor Nanette Rodriguez. Councilor Samuel Lee.
Here.
We have 7-0.
All right, thank you. For the agenda this evening, I'd like to move item B to be A, and then A becomes B.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilor Justice Asatore, second by Councilor Pedro Valdez.
Under discussion.
Under discussion, Councilor Ledoux.
I think we should, for the appointment of the interim city manager, I think for the appointment of the city manager, we should add a executive session.
Is Frank online?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Frank, can you go ahead and talk about that? Frank? Please unmute Frank, Diana.
We're trying to, he's paying attention.
He's trying on his end.
Yeah, we are too.
Okay.
No. I should note that we did it last time.
I'm okay with that amendment, if that's fine.
The amendment, we can't, Frank's gonna give a disclosure because the interim city manager candidate is not an employee. We can't go into executive session to discuss that. So Frank, are you on?
I cannot get on because
It's just-
the unmute button does not allow me.
Okay, well, I just held the phone up to the speaker. Can you go ahead and give that?
Okay, thank you. Yes, whoever you're going to offer as city manager is not an employee. And under the rules, you can have an executive session to talk about an employee. This person is not on the agenda.
I'd also like to add that the applicant has wished to come and speak publicly with everybody this evening as well. And that's also a part of their preference as well. And she'll have a disclaimer and disclosure about that later on.
In all fairness, Mayor, this is the first time that I'm looking at the resume. I think, in all fairness to us, we should at least have a chance to review it.
She's gonna talk about her credentials with us this evening.
So this is kind of an interview.
Yeah, because we can't go into an interview process, and I learned that when we were trying to interview the last two individuals here as a council. We have to do it in a public setting because they're not an employee.
We're gonna take action tonight?
It's on there listed for potential action. So we have a motion and a second on the floor for the agenda. Can you do a roll call vote?
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Councilor Denise Benavides, Councilor Aaron Salazar,
In favor?
Councilor Felicia Chuleta Toya,
In favor.
Councilor Pedro Valdez,
Yes.
Councilor Nanette Rodriguez,
Or motion.
Councilor Samuel Adu.
No.
Motion carries 6-1. Mayor Pro-Tem Lisa Martinez is absent.
All right. Public comment? Signing with the clerk. Madam Clerk.
Bethany Bradley,
Good evening, everyone. Normally, I'm up here discussing animals tonight. I am not. I would again like to call for the firing of Carla. And her name slipped my head again. Due to the fact that an email was sent out to multiple people, including city employees, regarding Michelle Frey. How disrespectful and ignorant it was to disclose somebody's personal information like that. FMLA, in case you guys don't know, is an HR person and as a city clerk, is personal information. I am telling you right now that these two employees are literally opening this city up and the taxpayers to multiple lawsuits. And the fact that they let out somebody's personal information to the point where it got all around different places, including it got to Pathways, because I heard about it through somebody that works at Pathways. It is everywhere. That is disgusting that somebody's personal information like that would ever be disclosed to the whole city of Espanola. That is her personal business. So I am utterly disgusted, and I again want to call for the firing of Sally Baxter and Carla.
Stephen?
Hey, Yoron. I heard you're going to Rio Doso with Felicia, Elijah, and some other people from the municipality league. I believe you're a disgrace to the city. I believe you're a disgrace to this community. I feel that you shouldn't attend the Rio Doso Municipal League Conference for your actions. Pedro, you've been on the board, on this governing body for a lot of years. All you've done since you've been here was kiss each mayor's ass that you've been counsel for. I believe you guys that sit there as public servants that serve the people of the city are a complete disgrace to the employees of the city. Each and every single one of you talk about how good employees are, we have the best employees in the city throughout the state. It's a bunch of bullshit. You guys know how to do bullshit. It's stupid. John, there's some more stuff coming out regarding the Tropicana business and the LLCs that you have under your name with other people. I want to get those LLCs and expose how dirty you really are. That's what I do. Just wait within time. Regarding Robert's rules, I think you need to take a refresher on that course. I watched the video. Justin Salazar called point of order, and you allowed that to happen. Samuel Ledoux called point of order, and you got in a bitching mood, and you threw a little tantrum and said, you can't call point of order. I call point of order because I'm running this meeting. Any single person that's sitting on that governing body can call point of order. That's how much of an ego you have that you want to control everything. You can't control shit, because you're just a punk bitch. And expose you. I have more stuff coming. Asshole. And Carlo, you're an idiot too. So actually you're a dumb bitch.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. First of all, this is so embarrassing to hear. I have an issue with a delinquency bill. It was under my mother's name. I've been trying to get it paid somehow. I'm trying to make payment arrangements, but I can't seem to get through anybody at any time. I've been trying for about 3 weeks. I've been sent emails, and emails. I sent first one to Mr. Ledoux here. And he sent me to Patrick Barrera. Mr. Barrera tagged in Jackie asking for payment plans to meet with me, and I haven't gotten nowhere. And I'm a person with high anxiety. As you can tell, I'm just focused on it because that's all I can do right now. And I just really need to get this bill paid so I can, or settled or something, so I can be with my mind okay. And I'm not getting nowhere, so this is kind of the last resort thing. I needed to come talk to you because I'm not getting to anybody, and I just need some kind of help.
Thank you for coming this evening. You follow the proper chain of command. I would you can follow up with Pat as well. It is with Jackie, with utility building.
I just finished sending her an email this morning as well, and I tagged in, I don't know the right words, I'm sorry. I tagged in Sam, so it's just a bunch of stuff, and there's just a bunch of things going on, and there's no communication, and communication's big for me. If you don't tell me what you need, and I don't tell you what I need, we're not gonna ever get things done. And I really need to get payment plans or something, so I know what I'm looking at, because I'm very low budget. I'm on disability, so I budget each month. So I need to know what I'm looking at, and I can't get answers nowhere. And it's a big bill. It's not like it's a pretty big.
Name and address to Carla, please.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
So you're not on mute, okay? Do you have anybody else? comments? Councilor Salazar Torres.
Hey, thank you. I actually have my hand up since before we approve the agenda. We kind of set a precedent, for city managers, etc. And I do not mind going into an executive session before that, just to respect all councilors and what they want to hear. But that's what I have my hand up for.
So Frank, can you chime in on the law? So
I understand.
I wanted to do that, but we can't because she's not an employee, is my understanding, and she's requested to speak here publicly this evening. If they were an employee, we could go into it, and I don't know, we've done it in the past wrong. We were gonna do this now for every interviewee that we had before us as an outside outside person applying for a position. I wish we could do it. I believe that the candidate or an applicant has the right to privacy, but according to the law, they have to be interviewed in public unless they're an actual employee. They're not protected, whereas we've talked about the manager, clerk, and the chiefs, council.
I get it, then we messed up before.
Yeah, we did. Frank brought it to my attention the other day when we wanted to interview Mr. Ruger. He indicated I had to do it as a public session. Councilor Ledoux?
First, I want to say that there's an the second annual Spanish festival is going to be at ETS Fairview Elementary on Saturday. I also want to remind you guys that there is the walk the fentanyl walk on the plaza as well. I believe at 9 a.m. And then the Spanish thing is at 2 p.m. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make either of those due to a personal commitment I have that morning, but I wanted to make sure that information is out there for any councilors who wish to attend. I also, I'm flabbergasted at what we're doing tonight in the sense that I feel like we've spent this entire council term focusing on everything but the largest issues that face our valley. We had a workshop session where we set out our priorities, and we really haven't made any progress on a single one of them. We made a promise to the people that we were going to set these as our priorities, the first one being a jail. And as far as I know, there really hasn't been any progress to move that project forward. We desperately need a jail, and it's becoming more and more apparent every single day. And I'm not sure what we're going to do if we can just continue to ignore these facts. We also desperately need housing. I'm looking at the census numbers again, and the city of Santa Fe has gained well over 21,000 people in the last 10 years. The county of Los Alamos has gained almost 2,000 people. The city of Espanola, 31. To put that in perspective, 40 people died from overdoses in Rio Arriba County last year. So we could have the entire gain of population wiped out just from overdose deaths in a year. We're in a massive decline in the city. It's apparent. We're having difficulty getting businesses. We're having difficulty maintaining our population. I think at one of the board meetings, they said at the school board that we've lost almost 400 kids in the district this coming year. We need to start thinking long term, and we need to start doing it now. And having meetings about ourselves, I feel like it's just becoming a distraction. And I really hope that after tonight, with some clarity about leadership decisions, we can really look towards the future instead of the soap opera that appears to be behind this dais every single week. Thank you.
Right, I think a lot of those questions will be discussed during one of the agenda items this evening. And I think that every one of those points, this person brings to the table background and knowledge and expertise in that. So I think you'll be happy to hear that when she comes forward later this evening. I don't have any matters from me. We're gonna go move forward to election of Mayor Pro-Tem. Councilor Ledoux.
I nominate Justin Salazar Torres for Mayor Pro-Tem.
Is there any other nominations? And being none, nominations are now closed. Is there a motion to elect Councilor Justin Salazar Torres by acclamation?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Ledoux, second by Councilor Benavides. Can you do a roll call? Oh, yeah, sorry, do we need a roll call because we're online still?
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres,
Please come back to me.
Councilor Denise Benavides,
In favor.
Councilor Aaron Salazar,
Not in favor.
Councilor Felicia Chaleta Toya,
In favor.
Councilor Pedro Valdez,
Yes.
Councilor Nanette Rodriguez,
I'm not sure what the law is, but can I refrain from this vote?
You can abstain.
I'm abstaining.
Councilor Samuel Ledoux,
In favor.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres,
My goodness. In the 7.5 years that I've been on this council, I've had to vote for myself and, in favor.
motion carries, 5 yes, 1 nay, and 1 abstention.
Thank you. Congratulations, Councilor Salazar Torres, on your election as Mayor Pro Tem. We're going to move on to appointment of interim city manager. I am bringing before you, I wish that we could do this in executive, but under the guidance of the attorney, we've done it wrong in the past. And so we need to make sure that we're doing this correctly going forward. If they're not an employee, they cannot be taken into executive session to be discussed. Also, the candidate has also requested to publicly address us. Bringing before and submitting the nomination of Ms. Lauren Reichelt. Ms. Lauren Reichelt has been very involved in our community for the last 35 years in health and human services, community activism, volunteerism. Many of the points you talked about, Councilor Ledoux, Ms. Reichelt has actually been instrumental in every single aspect of that, from the opioid epidemic down to the affordable housing plan for the Valley and Maribo County, to every aspect you talked about. She has been involved, whether it's also been with the schools. And so without further ado, I'd like to invite Ms. Lauren Reichelt to come up this evening and share about herself and her credentials.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try not to bore you all. Good evening. My name is Lauren Reichelt. I know many of you already and have for many years. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you, and I'm very honored by the mayor putting me on the agenda for this. I also am really glad that we're doing this publicly, because if I'm chosen to be the city manager, I'm working for the people of Espanola. I believe in complete transparency where it's possible. Sometimes, obviously, if HIPAA's involved or something, you can't tell everybody everything, but you're interviewing me on behalf of the people of Espanola, and I'd like them to hear what you have to say, and I'd like them to hear from me. And so I'll start just by telling you a little bit about my past, my background. I got my bachelor's degree from St. John's College in Santa Fe more years ago than I care to admit. I got my master's degree in comparative culture from Jochi Daigaku, or Sophia University in Tokyo, Japan. The reason I was in Japan was because my husband was a military officer, and so I spent 4 years as an officer's wife in the Navy. And it really changed my thinking about a lot of things. I was very young at the time. I was initially, when I started working in Rio Riba, it was as a volunteer. After my daughter was born, there was no playground for her. And so when I saw that the equipment that was in the playground in 1990 or 1989, there were cans that said danger, toxic waste, and it was definitely a place where you wouldn't want your children to play. So I just started going around and talking to neighbors, and as a volunteer, wrote a grant and got a playground built that after we had a contest in the schools, the children chose Vanessa's Hideaway as the name. And it was named after a little girl, Vanessa Valerio, who was killed when somebody broke into her house for her syringes because she was diabetic. And her family and the families of so many people who had lost their children to either overdose or to murder came and they helped and they built that playground. And we got the entire park rebuilt. And at that point, the county hired me. There was no Health and Human Services department. There was just me, and I think I had a budget of $10,000. And so my charge initially was to go build playgrounds all over the county, but I wasn't sure if that's what people in the county wanted. So the first thing I did was I conducted a needs assessment. And I went around to people's houses in different villages. I paid them $75 to have milk and cookies and at least 12 people present. And I asked them a lot of questions about their health care and their lives. And everywhere I went, I heard about, in different ways, the substance abuse epidemic. And so what we decided to do, at that time, we created a health council. And that consisted of all the leaders of the CEOs of the hospital, the clinics. There were a lot of church people, school people, just a diverse array of people that would come together, and they would help me to plan what it was that we were going to do for the county. And we tried to use data as our basis for planning. I presented them with data that I could find, and then they would give me priorities. And so what they asked for was, we heard everywhere we went, people loved their clinics near their houses. They didn't feel they needed playgrounds. They had lots of trees, but they were very concerned about substance abuse. So we proposed creating county-run health insurance that covered substance abuse. That turned out to be a very naive idea, but it was a starting point. What we did do is we created the first county-run Health and Human Services department in the state of New Mexico. And at the time, it was a pretty revolutionary thing to do. The departments that were later created by Bernalillo County, by Doña Ana County, and by Santa Fe County were based on what we put together in Rio Riba. We didn't have any funding, that was the big difference. Those other counties, being urban, had taxes they could rely on. But I had to raise all the funding myself, other than my own salary and the $10,000 I started with. And so we eventually ended up, it depended on the year and what grants we got. We ended up with a budget of between $1 and $5 million every year. We had a staff of probably about 25 people, plus we had 14 VISTA and AmeriCorps volunteers. And at NMED later, I worked for NMED for 2 years as a division director. I had a staff of about 200 at 22 field offices around the state. So I am definitely used to supervising a wide array of people. About 90% of our funding in Rio Riba County for that department came through grants. And that's a really hard thing to put together. So what I would do is I kept an Excel spreadsheet, and nobody's salary came out of one grant, because I didn't want to have a situation where I lost a grant and had to fire a couple of people. So what I would do is I'd take 30% from this grant, 30% from that grant, and 30% from another. And my spreadsheet would tell me whose salaries were going to end when and how much I had to raise to keep them going. There was only one time, and that was when I was first hired 30 years ago, that I had to let somebody go because of lack of funding. If I let somebody go, it was usually because they were not working out with our department. And so by the time I left, we had 30 different funding sources. One of them was Medicaid, which is incredibly difficult to manage, and if you are a county, it's almost impossible to manage because of the way the rules are set up. We were able to bill Medicaid to provide in-home care for seniors. We were also able to bill Medicaid for case management and for substance abuse treatment. And we were the only county in New Mexico that was billing Medicaid at that time. So we were the test for that as well. Over the course of my 28 years with Rio Arriba, if you include the campaigns we put together for mill levies and bond issues, as well as the grants, I raised over $100 million. And so just to show you how the Health Council worked, I like to work based on consensus. That's very important to me. And so we put together grants as a Health Council. I never took more than maybe a third or a half of a grant for my own department. Most of it went to our partner organizations, so they were heavily bought into the success of the department, because the more we succeeded, the more they succeeded, and we did it as a group. One mill levy campaign I'd like to tell you about, because I'm kind of proud of it. I think it was pretty clever, and it was very good for our seniors for sure, was the state came to me and they told me that Rio Arriba was last in New Mexico in terms of seniors being immunized. And would I work with them to help improve that? So as our mill levy campaign, I worked with Brenda Romero at the hospital, and instead of putting a bunch of money into flyers and stuff, we organized a vaccination campaign. We went to every single one of Rio Arriba's, I think it was 9 senior centers at that time, and we vaccinated the seniors. And I had done a report, because for some reason people were always saying how bad our hospital was, but every piece of data and statistics I looked at, it appeared to be the best hospital in New Mexico, which in fact it was named a few years ago. And so we went around to all these senior centers. I released my report before we started the campaign, and I talked about it at every senior center, and we told them about how much we needed the mill levy. We vaccinated not only seniors, but people's families, anybody that showed up. My staff just about died because it was a lot of work, but at the end of 3 months, we had gone from last in the state to second in the state, and depending on how you measure it, we either increased the immunization rate for seniors by 500% or 20,000%. It just depends on whether you look at individuals or the vaccinations they got. So we became a very vaccinated county, and our seniors were much safer. And even the Rio Grande Sun ran an editorial saying, why did everybody vote for the mill levy? More people voted for the mill levy than voted for the senator. And that's why they voted for the mill levy. In terms of some of my career highlights that I'm really proud of, I'd like to talk about some of the work that I've done with the police. So when I first started, substance abuse was thought of as a crime, not an illness. I personally, my mother was severely mentally ill and would sometimes disappear for long periods of time, and she'd end up in horrible places. It was really hard to get her out. And to me, the worst thing I could imagine, because I remembered visiting my mother when I was 8 or 9 years old, 7 years old, in this horrible mental hospital. It was Cook County in Illinois. And it had those horrible green walls, and everyone was on Thorazine and shuffling around like zombies. It was terrifying. And I thought about all the kids who are having to visit their parents in jail and what that must be like for them. And so I began working with the police. It took a long time to convince the police that Narcan was a good thing and that they could carry it, but eventually they agreed. They also joined our health council and became really active with it. And we got all the police in Rio Arriba trained pretty much. There were a few tribes, I think, that held out to carry Narcan. Then there was a terrible incident, I forget what year it was. Richard Gallegos was the chief, and a young boy was shot and killed by the police because they thought he had a gun and it was a toy gun. And he was Richard Gallegos' neighbor, and Chief Gallegos was devastated. And so I worked with him. I got a grant within 24 hours. I called up the head of Behavioral Health Services Division, told him what the problem was, and he got some money out to us so that we could start training the police, providing crisis intervention training. And we had a wonderful police psychologist who came out, did all the trainings. We got 100% of the Espanola Police Department certified, 100% of the sheriff's deputies certified, and we also trained a lot of the tribal police. One of the things that the trainer worked with me on was recognizing PTSD in yourself and in your fellow officers, because we were very worried about what the police might be going through. It must be terrible to be present at a shooting like that, or to be the person who does the shooting. And so, and also the mother of the boy who was killed helped me with all of this. And so we worked on PTSD with the police, and then we also had a number of police sent down for a week to Albuquerque to take the hostage negotiation training. Something that happened that really excited me at that time was our county sheriff, there was a mentally ill person from Colorado or someplace who showed up on the highway outside of the Okayawingay casino, and he wanted to be shot by police. And so he was waving a gun around and screaming all kinds of stuff, and the sheriff had just been to that training. And so he used everything he learned at that training, and he would not allow anybody to point their guns at the man, and he tackled him, and he was able to get him the help he needed. So our health council honored him for doing that, because we thought it was really important that we let the police know that we noticed that they had taken everything to heart. And so we gave him an award at our health council meeting. I was also invited to the White House during the Obama years for some of what we were starting a treatment pod in our jail. And we started a program called Reroute. I put somebody in the jail, a staff person who, oh, thank you. Today she's running she's running a whole office for the state, but she was in the jail, and she was working with prisoners and helping to get them out of jail and into treatment. We also trained the police so that they would, if a person did not really need to be in jail, and we worked with some of the judges too, they would refer them to treatment instead. And so we were able to get people out of our jail and into treatment. And that was very successful. And as a result, I was invited to the White House, and I brought our sheriff with me, and he was really pleased. And we met lots of counties all over the country who were trying to do similar things. And it was very exciting for me and for him to meet all these people. I took a delegation that included some of our Espanola police, somebody from the DA's office, somebody from the public defender, and then some of our own providers. And we all went to Seattle, and we learned more about how to run this particular program. We called it Reroute. And we met with the police about it every single week, and we would follow up on whoever they referred to us. And so that was a real change in the way business was done in our community. I worked with our jail on healthcare, trying to ensure that we had reasonable health care in the jail. That's really hard because they charge so much more for health care in the jail than they do just for the general public, and it's exorbitant for the public. So In terms of other things that we did, we put together an entire coalition of healthcare providers. We formed them into a single network with all the correct paperwork, referrals, and disclosures, everything else you need, and we also were able to communicate with one another via internet. And that was to make sure that people had access to a full range of services. So as somebody who is a patient for cancer, you don't just get chemo or just get radiation and you have to choose which one. You get an entire range of services and you have a care coordinator. So the role of my department was to be the care coordinator, and we didn't provide any other services because we didn't want to step on the clinics we were working with. We didn't want them to think of us as being their competition.
Ms. Wright?
Yeah. Am I talking too long?
Hold on a minute. Frank, would it be allowable that we could now at this point kind of ask Miss Wright?
I fucking miss you, Freeman.
Yes.
I fucking miss you,
Okay,
bro.
would it be allowable? Okay.
Good to see you,
All right,
buddy.
'cause I'm gonna allow the
Okay,
council.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Hey, Frank, question, I guess. Can we motion to approve and not have a vote, but go into an executive session if possible? Because I want to respect my fellow colleagues. I know they have questions and whatnot. How can we go about this?
Mayor, Councilor, you could do a motion to approve, as you've described. I would note that Ms. Reichelt has asked to have the meeting in public, and under the Open Meetings Act, even if, let's say, she was an employee, subject to the act, and she's not. The mayor's correct on that point. That's absolutely right. If she was an employee and asked for a public meeting, and it'd have to be in public. So, a long story short, if Ms. Reichelt was in agreement to go into executive session and answer questions, and that's what the council wants to do, I believe they could.
Mayor, I think we should.
I guess what I'm getting at is, this is an appointed position, so we've always deliberated, we've always, sorry guys, we've always been able to discuss this in private matters. I know in past sessions for the last 7.5 years, sometimes this governing body has always gone paywall, but I would really appreciate if we could go into executive session.
Well, it's my view that you could, if everyone's in agreement, including Ms. Reichelt. I see nothing wrong with you going into executive session with her.
Mayor,
Hey, James, this is a new, and she's going to be the interim city manager here for the City of Espanola.
I think it's worth it for the public.
So, Counselor, he's right. Mayor Pro-Tem Salazar Torres, you are correct. We're done in the past. Frank is actually our first time when we're appointing an appointed official. He's the one that's indicated to me that it has to be done in public. I'm whatever the council is ready for. I don't agree with this. I'm used to us being able to go into executive, but that was my understanding that we had to do this in public. That's why I'm allowing you guys to ask questions and such. It's a little bit complex because she's indicated she wanted to be here in public as well, and we appreciate that transparency. So I'm at the pleasure with the council with that. Councilor Ledoux.
I would like to proceed publicly, if you wouldn't mind. I have some questions, if you wouldn't mind me asking right now.
Councilor Ledoux.
Ms. Reichelt, I got a little bit of advance notice of your nomination today, so I did some research, and I have to say that there's some things on your resume that were left off, and I think part of that is your own political activism. I know that you said that you've done a lot of great work with the police, but I am concerned about some of the rhetoric that you have posted over the last 5 years regarding the police. For instance, in September of 2020, you indicated that you thought in a Facebook post that most police departments around the country had white supremacists infiltrating their ranks. You've worked with organizations such as Indivisible New Mexico, Indivisible Española, Black Lives Matter. All of these organizations have called for defunding of the police department. You've also just recently indicated, as recently as April, that you felt that some of our federal law enforcement officers were quote unquote brown shirts, referencing, soldiers in the Nazi regime. I am very troubled by a lot of these statements, and as city manager, you're going to have a lot of access and negotiation with our police chief, and many of us behind this dais have indicated that we want to go forward with policies that would be more pro trying to get our crime problem under control. Whereas you have indicated in several posts throughout the years that you're looking for what's called criminal justice reform, which would reduce sentencing and contribute to a lot of the problems that we've seen here in the Valley of basically catch and release programs with, some of our criminals. And we are in a crime crisis right now. The governor has declared it a statewide emergency in the county of Rio Arriba. And while on paper and in your speech, you've indicated a great deal about these programs, I'm a guy that looks at results. And the results are that our overdoses have not decreased. Our results that crime has increased. And so has homelessness. We have gotten worse pretty much every single year in every one of these categories. And, I'm not sure that the direction that the county has chosen or that the city has chosen is effective and is working. And appointing a city manager that wants to advocate policies that will continue down this road is troubling. And, as you said, most of our programs need to be funded by grants. And when you have a city manager...
until our next city council meeting.
Second.
Motion to table the appointment of city manager until September 23rd city council meeting. Second by Councilor Ledoux. Can we do a roll call?
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
In favor.
Councilor Denise Benavides.
In favor.
Councilor Aaron Salazar.
In favor.
Councilor Felicia Chaleta Toya.
In favor.
Councilor Pedro Valdez.
Not in favor, and I'd like to say what I have to say. And that is that we need a city manager, and I've known Lauren for a long time, and she's done a lot of work, and she has the city in her mind, and that's the kind of city manager that we need. I think we should have a vote tonight and put her as city manager.
Councilor Nina Rodriguez.
Also not in favor. We talk meeting after meeting about the importance of having leadership at City Hall, and yet we continue to push it and push it and push it, so not in favor.
Councilor Samuel Ledoux.
In favor.
5-2, motion fails.
If you mean it passes.
Oh, it passes.
Ms. Reichelt, this will be handled at the next city council meeting on September 23rd. For further discussion, please be in attendance at that meeting.
Okay, may I have the opportunity to address the points that Councilor Ledoux brought up.
I think it'd be fair, but I just don't understand what, we can't go into an interview, we can't go into executive, correct, Frank?
Well, I think it's a matter of your call, Mr. Mayor, as to whether or not you're going to hear a response from the applicant. And it strikes me as that being a fair request, and it's up to the chair on that matter.
No,
The
but
chair
I'm talking
rules
about having an
what people-
executive, I'm talking about having an executive session to discuss a non-employee. Can we do that at the next meeting, because we can't do it now, we can't do it.
If you decide you want to do that and you put it on the agenda as an executive session, yes, you can do that.
I'm gonna allow Ms. Reichelt to respond to that question, and then we're gonna move on from this agenda item. Okay?
So, well, you said a lot of things. First of all, my political activism is not on my resume because it's not part of my job. So I didn't put it on my resume. Yes, I am the coordinator of Indivisible Espanola. I disagree with you entirely that I am not supportive of police or have ever called to defund the police, because I never have. That's somebody else. I've always been very supportive of our police. I don't consider ICE police. Our police department, I'm very proud of. It is well run. It is made up of officers who have taken the time to train themselves and to learn how to interact with the public properly. I cannot imagine any Espanola police officer, say, going to Lowe's or the farmer's market and looking for people who look like they're Mexican and showing up in masks with all kinds of guns and refusing to identify themselves and putting people in vehicles. So, but our police department, I'm extremely proud of, and I think it's doing exactly what police need to do. In terms of the overdose rate, when I ran the Rio Reba Department of Health and Human Services, we actually did reduce the death rate by 30%. After that, fentanyl came in, and that's another issue, and also I wasn't there. So we also had a 90+% success rate with the pregnant women we worked with. Over 90% of them gave birth without any kind of illicit substances, anything unprescribed in their bloodstream, and they were able to keep their children. And so I strongly disagree that the only way to deal with substance abuse and mental illness issues is through law enforcement and jails.
Thank you, Ms. Reichelt, appreciate your time this evening.
Mayor, if I may call a point of order.
Yeah,
Something's tabled.
she's moving on, Mayor Pro-Tem. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, resolution 2025-55, a resolution accepting and authorizing the increase in revenue and expenditures in the amount of $155,000 pursuant to Executive Order 2025-258, and approval of reimbursement from the New Mexico Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Chief Garcia. And Pat Laden. Chief Garcia and Pat Laden.
Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro-Tem, governing body, from what I understand, Finance Director was supposed to be here to present that resolution. What I can do is I can give you the actual numbers to what we are receiving.
Motion to approve. Motion made by Councilor Dew, second by Councilor Rodriguez. Can I get a roll call?
Councilor Felicia Chuleta Toya,
In favor.
Councilor Pedro Valdez,
Yes.
Councilor Lynette Rodriguez, Councilor Samuel Ledoux.
In favor.
Resolution 2025-56, a resolution accepting and approving the grant allocation. No, it just says Pat, from the New Mexico Department of Public Safety for the Espanola Fire Department honor guard program and authorizing the increase of revenue and expenditure budgets in the amount of $63,8645. Is Pat online? Okay, Pat? Okay, go ahead, just Pat, Pat.
Sorry about that, I was muted, I was here before. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Mayor Pro-Tem, congratulations. We have here a simple resolution, we're accepting funds for the honor guard for the fire department in the amount of $6,386.45. The raising and minusing expenditures and revenue in the same amount. Pretty much cut and dry, I'll stand for the
Motion to approve. Motion made by Councilor Adu, second by Councilor Benavides to approve resolution 2020-06. Would you take the roll, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Pro-Tem Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Councilor Denise Benavides. In favor. Councilor Aaron Salazar,
in favor.
Councilor Felicia Chuleta Latoya,
In favor.
Councilor Pedro Valdez,
Yes.
Councilor Nanette Rodriguez, Councilor Sonny Leduc.
In favor.
For no further business, this meeting is adjourned, 1 hour.
Thank you.
Hey, Mayor.
Well, with that,
Yes. Yes, we are.
Recording done.
She's a strong lefty. All right, guys, the meeting's over. Appreciate you guys. Until next time.
Oh, I'm like, no.
Sorry, but yeah, we're getting gas also.
Yeah, sorry. City council, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which one?
Aaron.
I'm sorry, I just,
Okay.
409. I just saw New Mexico gas, and that's why I was like, why I paid that bill? I was like, I paid that